Let's begin with attorneys Khurana and Haber in business and immigration law updates. Here, the moderator is attorney Kenneth Haber, who is the former assistant U.S. attorney. On this set, attorney Haber questions attorney Ramesh Khurana of the Khurana law firm located in Rockville, Maryland, all about the national interest waiver cases and green cards. Let's take a look.
Good morning. This is the Capitol Forum, and I'm Kenneth Haber. I'm a former assistant United States attorney and a former senior attorney in the Office of Inspector General of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. With me today we have Ramesh Khurana, a very, very well-known immigration attorney who's represented people from across the country, and he's represented them from across the world. Welcome, Ramesh.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. Appreciate your being here. Would like to ask you today about the national interest waiver cases involving the green cards. Can you explain what a national interest waiver is?
Sure, Ken, this topic is very dear to my heart because again, when we are talking about the National Interest Waiver Program, it provides an opportunity to the applicants of the green card to stand in front of the queue because there are very limited number of green cards available, and sometimes there is a long wait for nationals of India and China. But for this program, probably they have to go through labor certification process, so you can eliminate the need for the labor certification process. And for other nationals like people who are coming from Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka and other countries, because this is under EB2 category, and for them the priority date is current, and they can basically get the green card within a period of 6 months, I would say. So now talking about what's the National Interest Waiver Program. Now, National Interest Waiver Program's criteria have been derived from one case law, which was in the matter of New York Department of Transportation. It was decided in 1998. Now, of course, there are 7 major criteria, 7 criteria out of which a person has to satisfy at least 3 out of 7. But there are 3 most important factors which were given as per the case law of New York Department of Transportation. Number 1 is that a person who is coming or who's to be covered under the National Interest Waiver Program, now his work is going to be of substantial intrinsic merit to the United States, substantial intrinsic merit to the United States. And the second prong as per this case law is that this should be national in scope. It is just not limited to certain geographical area. That means whatever work or product is given by this applicant of national interest waiver, the whole of the United States is deriving benefit out of this product. So that's why it says national in scope. As I said, you know, if you have to apply for the green card, in most of the categories you have to go through the labor certification process. Here we are basically making a case to the USCIS that why there is a compelling need, especially in view of the qualifications which are possessed by the applicant to waive the requirement of the US Department of Labor certification process. So these 3 important factors you have to talk about.
Is this sometimes used by the government in order to bring people over who may have served our interests in the past, such as the interpreters in Afghanistan, that they want to relocate here?
You know, when we are talking about this kind of category, now they may not be covered under national interest waiver, but there is a special kind of program available for translators and other people who are needed by the law enforcement people. Now we can talk about U visa, T visa, all those kinds of visas are available, and they are non-immigrant in nature, but over a period of time, they had laid down the eligibility criteria whereby these non-immigrant visas can be converted into green cards. So this national interest waiver, because this is a green card program, and this is available to people who have exceptional ability or they are holding an advanced degree. So exceptional ability we can prove by 7 prongs, 7 criteria, and 3 of them are the most important ones, which I already explained, which were decided in terms of the case of New York Department of Transportation.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure.
Who has the burden of showing national interest when they're making a petition here?
Very good question, Ken. Whenever you are filing any immigrant benefit application to the USCIS, the burden is always on the petitioner. Now, petitioner has to persuade the USCIS that I am the best person to deserve this application's approval, and because I meet with the necessary criteria and qualifications as outlined in the regulations. So he can talk about basically all his accomplishments, giving details. As we talked under extraordinary ability situation, more or less those factors will come and play their roles here as well. So you can talk about how many papers have been published in the trade journal, or if you have won some awards, what was the criteria of winning the award, and if you are the highest paid or highly paid person in your profession. So you can talk about all these achievements. Of course, if you have won some international award or Nobel Prize, then of course you get the green card right away.
What is an alien of exceptional ability?
Again, in order to prove that a person is of exceptional ability, you are taking support from these prongs. So you are going to say that this person's product or work is nationally in scope, and the whole United States of America is going to be benefited from the services of this applicant. Maybe he is working with NIH, let's say, and while working with the NIH, he is working on some research which probably when commercialized can give benefit for treatment of some ailments or diseases. So pharmaceutical company is going to be benefited, and pharmaceutical company is going to create employment opportunities for people in the United States. So you are talking about this aspect, and then you are also saying why it is of substantial intrinsic merit. So talking about how it's going to help in our economy. So when you talk about all these factors, it really becomes a persuasive case. And I'm sure once you present a persuasive case to the USCIS officer will be inclined to approve this petition.
What is an advanced degree professional, and how does that work out with the NIW, the National Interest Waiver?
Yeah. You know, one of the requirements is the person must be holding an advanced degree. It could be a master degree in arts, sciences, or even sometimes when a person is holding a bachelor degree and that person has worked for 5 years, which is called the progressive work experience after he or she obtained his bachelor degree. So combination of education and 5 years of progressive work experience, that may be equivalent to a master degree. So, or of course, somebody is holding a PhD degree or MD degree. So these people are holding advanced degree. So you will talk about the education qualification of the person along with other achievements proving toward the prongs, 7 prongs as I said, which are laid down for successful conclusion of your application.
How does one establish that he has prospective national benefit, that he is going to be able to be of benefit to this country?
Right. You know, this is again the cardinal requirement of the national interest waiver. Now, what you do is, basically you look at the track record. First of all, you talk about his accomplishment, like what this person has done so far. And as we know, once a person has set up a good track record, or there is a list of convincing achievements which this applicant has acquired over a period of his professional and academic career, and then probably you can show that whatever his achievements are today, now these definitely will provide a glimpse of what this person is capable of doing for the future of United States. And once you are able to articulate all those positive factors which would say that yes, in most likelihood, or this is we use the term in immigration context, by a preponderance of evidence. So, the evidence if you are providing which by a preponderance of evidence indicates that this person is likely to deliver in the national interest or for the whole United States. As I said, this should not benefit just some one particular geographical area. Its scope should be national. So, it becomes a winning petition.
Could an argument be made that if he is going to be a benefit to a local area, that local area affects the national economy, the national system of America, and therefore it's a national, even if he's just going to be directly benefiting the local area?
You know, Ken, it all depends upon the circumstances of the case, because every petition is decided on a case by case basis. So, you and I know how to play with the situation and articulate in such a way that probably it would convince the immigration officer. So, it all depends, you know, how you are presenting your case. Of course, simply writing good stuff without any support of documentation is not going to be helpful, but I am pretty sure when you are supporting your arguments with some current achievements, and you are also enclosing some recommendation letters from the experts or from people who are really distinguished in the field. Now, those are really going to indicate what this person is. So, it all depends upon the totality of the circumstances, like how this whole case is looking like. And if it's a winning petition, I'm pretty sure it will be approved.
Very good. Quickly, very quickly, is there any particular type of individual would want to get a letter of recommendation from?
Yes. When we say a letter of recommendation, it should be from a person who is an expert in that particular field. This is the buzzword. Getting a recommendation letter from somebody who's outside this profession is not going to work.
Is there any words you'd like to wrap up our session with for the viewing audience?
I'll be very happy to do that, Ken. My advice to the audience is that whenever you have some immigration issues, please talk to a competent immigration lawyer. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.